this is going to be my first ever Q&A. So I've took comments from Facebook and YouTube, and some private messages I've had on Facebook as well. I've took them. So let's get started. First question. So what I do for a living is I've actually run a garage in here, so it's called SMT Garage. I'll put a link in the description. It's on Facebook. It's just a small garage. It just keeps me ticking along. That's my second job. My first job that is my main income is a company called Coilovers in Norway. It's an offshore company, so I work with them, and then when I come home I'm in the garage. Mostly the garage pays for stuff like this to give you content. Use the garage money to buy new parts, go to events, stuff like that. So two jobs I have. So yeah, next question. How old am I? I'm 28. I will be 29 in April 6th. So not looking forward to that. I want to go down. But hey ho, that's that. What is SMT Motorsport? So SMT Motorsport stands for my name. It's Stuart Michael Thorburn. I started up SMT Motorsport as I started up as SMT Rallying first, and I was racing the MG. But then I got the drift car, and then I couldn't really have SMT Rallying down the side of a drift car, so I changed it to SMT Motorsport. What I'd like from SMT Motorsport is keep the content going. You know, we can keep buying and selling cars and blah blah blah. But I'd like it to be like a type of brand as well. So I'd quite like to start up clothing. Well, I've already got clothing and stuff. I don't really sell it unless people like ask me if they want it, but I'd like to start up a website, sell stuff like that, sell some motorsport parts. I'm in talks just now with a company on getting a hydraulic handle made with SMT Motorsport on it. Something the same as Nameless Performance, and it won't be as fancy and all that jazz, but I'll try and see what I can do. Yes, I would recommend a 320 to Driftin. They're quite cheap. I picked mine up for £200. The only bad thing with it, it's only got 170 horsepower from factory, so it's probably like 150 or something when you pick it up, when it's got 80,000-90,000 miles on it or more. They can drift, as you can see in the video. They can drift, but if you've got a choice between a 320 and a 328 or a 330, then I would go bigger. I will change the engine in this eventually, so yeah, I would go as big as possible. So this is the welder that I use. It's a Clarkey Welder MIG 135TE Turbo. And its wire is 0.6, I think it is. Most of the time I have it in setting 1 minimum or maximum, and my wire speed's around 7. Go a bit more on 7, I go like 7.5, just under 7.5 if it's on setting 1, and on max I'd go 7.5. If it's on 1 and minimum, I normally go 7 for all the welding I've done on the BMW. And then I've got the big gas bottles at the back. This is argon / CO2, and the other two are for the gas axe that I use. So one's oxygen and one is acetylene is the other one. It's just a small bottle. So yeah, that's my welder and gas axe setup. And I've got 2 grinders in here. This metal frame thing, it's just off eBay. It's about 30 quid if you just put in welder thing. I can put a link in the description, so just check that below. So the eBay coilovers, they're okay for drifting. You know, they were only like £200 or something off at eBay, so it's like £50 a corner. They're not adjustable. You can get ones that are more expensive that are adjustable, so I would recommend, if you're going to be keeping the car for a while, I would recommend going for adjustable, so you can, you know, set the front up how hard you want it to bounce and how hard you want the rear. So, you know, it's up to other people how they like it. But for what I'm doing, I don't drift a huge amount and I'm learning, so I went for cheap stuff for just now, and I will upgrade when I get a bigger engine and blah blah blah. I will upgrade to something a bit better and a bit more expensive, but for just now I thought I'll get it and see how it is, and you know, you guys can see how it is. So, you know, the BMW drifts fine as it is. So yeah. So my ones are extended. I think it's 25mm, and they're E36 bottom arms I've got on. The E46 are alloy ones, and they can't be extended. So I've went for E36, and Wizard or Lock, he gave me the locking kit, so he modifies the hub, he modifies the bottom arm so it's longer, and then he gave me rack spacers as well. So the whole reason for extending the bottom arm is to push the wheel out, so you'll give it more camber, so your front wheels will be sticking out more, so when you turn, your wheels actually go back to like zero camber, or sometimes they'll go positive camber. What's not good is when the wheels will be like this. So just now I think I've got about 6° camber, so when I turn full lock I'm at zero, so I've got full contact with the tyre. So that's why people run ridiculous lock on drift cars, is for when you turn full lock, your tyre has got as much contact on the surface as possible. So yeah, the bottom arm is just to push the wheel out so it gives it camber. You can also run a wider wheel as well when you push it further away, but mostly it's for camber, and just to fit the tyre into the well more. So yeah. Yes, the hydro still works even when the bias valve is turned all the way down, because I fitted the bias valve before the hydro. So basically when I put my foot down, there's a valve stopping when I put pressure down, and it's coming through the brake line and it's coming into the bias, it'll stop there. So, you know, when you press the brakes, there's nothing going to the rear, so that's when you can do burnouts. You can put your foot on the brake and throttle, and it's only braking the front but it's spinning the rear, so there's no braking on the rear. But yes, the hydro will still work, because the hydro is after the bias. So when you pull the hydro, there's no restriction to the rear brakes. You know, the bias is in front, if you know what I mean. Hopefully that helps. So what my rear suspension like, it's pretty much standard. It's just coilovers on the back, and I've upgraded the anti-roll bar links. Some people don't run anti-roll bars at all, but I do. You know, I don't know what I'm going to be doing in the BMW. I do auto tests in it as well, and other events, so I'm going to keep it in the rear. Just a welded diff in the back of it, but I'll give you a little video now of what the rear of the car looks like. So my exhaust system, it is custom made. It has got an E36 headers. I think that's what's on it. I was given them for free. So I've chopped them 2 or 3 times to get them to fit down and through. And then I've got 2 universal 2.5 inch. I think they're 2.5 inch. So they go from 2 inch to 2.5 inch. I've got like an open up thing that makes it a bigger pipe, and then we go into a flex, and then we do a little S bend and into 2 cherry bombs, and then it's pie cut down onto the floor. I pie cut it down because I didn't want to go in straight out, because it'd probably melt the tank, so we're going straight down like that. So it gives quite a nice noise. There's still quite a good bit of back pressure in it. There's no cats in it. and I've only got the upstream lambdas plugged in. There's no downstreams plugged in, and it runs fine. There's no engine management light on, so yeah, it's quite a good little mod, and it's quite a nice sound as well. What I use to video and edit might actually surprise you. I will be upgrading once I get to 1,000 subscribers, because just now, you know, the channel's not that big, but we're getting there. We're nearly at 1,000. But what I use is actually my iPhone 6S. I think it's an S. I don't really know. So that's what I'm using right now. So the sound quality is not great. I know a lot of people have commented and stuff, but for just now it has to do, and then I will upgrade to one of them vlogging cameras that all the YouTubers use, but it's about 400, 500 pounds for that. So I don't really want to buy that yet until, you know, the channel's actually taking off quite well and I see plenty of people viewing it. And to edit the videos I just use iMovie on the phone, so I do everything on my phone. I've got a couple other apps that I use for your thumbnails and stuff like that, but it's still all done on my phone, and then once I've done the thumbnail I just email it to myself and make it like a 2 megabyte size of thumbnail, and then you're allowed to upload it onto YouTube. So there's a couple of little funny things that you have to do on YouTube to get things to work, but if you just research it and stuff, or message me, you know, it's a small channel, so just message me and see whatever you want, whatever information you want, just don't hesitate to contact. You can find me on Facebook, so it's SMT Motorsport on Facebook, and I'll put the link in the description. What's the plans for the BMW? Ooh, don't know if I can tell you that. No, I will. The plans that I think I'm going to do is, my friend has a donor car. It's a 3-litre coupe. So it's not in the best state, the actual body, but the 3-litre engine is. So I think I'm going to go for that. I was thinking about turboing the car, but I see quite a lot of stuff on YouTube about it. It's not the best of quality and stuff like that. But I was also thinking about supercharging it. There is a couple stuff that people steal it from Mercedes to make a cheap supercharge, because turbo is not cheap. So I like to keep it as cheap as possible, so I can show people, you know, you can do this for this much instead of turboing. Turboing is always the best. You know, you can stick anti-lag on and it just pops and bangs and everything. But, you know, we can still supercharge it, and people say you can still use the same ECU and stuff like that if it's a 3-litre 2.8. So we'll see. I need to research a bit more before I go balls deep in it. So the benefits of doing that modification is relocating the battery is the most biggest thing I wanted to do. That's why I wanted to do it, is because if you smash the back rear end, then you know that's your battery gone, and it's a new battery, so it was like £100 for that battery. So I really don't want to smash it, and then once you smash it, that's your event over. So I've relocated it to the basically where the back seats used to be. And then the spare wheel delete, I got rid of that. It's a little bit of weight saving, nothing massive, but it's easier to get into like your drive shafts, because as you can see by the footage, yeah, I have snapped that shaft. So it's a bit easier to get into that, but nothing major. It's quite an easy thing. It only took me a couple hours, and I've only stitch welded it, or seam welded it, whatever you want to call it. I haven't fully welded it. I've just stitched like that much, keep going round it, and then just Sikaflexed it all in, and then puts a nice coat of under seal on it, and that's it. So it's not a big job, but it's mostly for the battery to get relocated. But a lot of people have commented to say it's really cool that you can see underneath the car, you can see the subframe, you can see the diff and stuff like that. So yeah. up to you if you want to do it. So, good upgrades to do. Probably the first three I would say is, one would be a locking kit is the very first thing I would say you should do, because I say a locking kit is kind of like the power band on your RPM gauge. It's trying to keep it in that RPM range to get the most power when you're on a drag strip or something. You want to keep it in the power band. And it's exactly the same as drifting, I think, as well. This is my personal opinion. But if you've got a car that doesn't have much lock at all, when you start skidding, as soon as you go past that threshold that your car has gotten lock, you're just going to spin. So if you can get the most lock as possible, it means you can hold the slide. Even if you've made a little mistake and you've went past where you think you can, you actually haven't, because you've got the lock kit. So I would say lock kit first. Then I would go for some coilovers. Just keep the car stable. When you go into the slide, it's going to be planted on the ground and it's not going to be rolling and tipping, because then you've got the weight transfer to try catch as well. And especially if you go for a transition, you know, the weight transfer isn't harsh and it's not going to snap on you. So I would say coilovers is the second thing. And last is weld the diff. You know, weld the diff or LSD or something like that, but welding the diff is pretty cheap. You just pull it out, get rid of all the oil and weld it up, and away you go. It's cheap fun. And then if it blows up, then you just get another one. But as you can see, my drive shaft is snapped before the diff has done anything. And then after you've done them, I would say go bucket seats so you're planted in the car, because once you've done all that, you'll be quite good at drifting and you'll just be sliding in your seat. So go for bucket seats and maybe 4-point harness or whatever you've got, whatever you can afford. What tires and wheels do I use? So I have got 15-inch by 7 wide. They're fine wheels. I've got Image. I think they're Image wheels was the first pair I had. I've still got them. I still use them. I just use them for the rear end now, because a couple of them have got cracks in them or whatever. So I'm just going to use them until they're destroyed. So I got them really cheap. I think they were 100 quid for 4. So that'll do me. And then the other set I've got from the guy who sponsors my rally car. He wanted to give me some discount wheels, so I just couldn't pass it up. So they're 15 by 7 as well. Tires, I run my old tarmac tires off of this car onto the BMW. That's why I like to run 15-inch wheels, so I can swap the front tires for old tarmac tires that I would never use again on the MG. So tarmac on the front and just cheap stuff, whatever I can find, either new stuff. The new stuff I can only find £20 for one rear tyre on the rear, so it's a little bit expensive, but if you can afford it, run new tyres, then you don't have to keep coming in and changing wheels over all the time. Or go to your local tyre dealer and see if they've got any cheap tyres used. Most of the time you'll find like old tyres that have got cracks on the sidewalls and stuff. That's why people replace them. Normal people replace them and won't run them, because they won't run the risk of them blowing up. But if you're drifting, just throw them on and they'll probably be burnt out in no time, because you're just thrashing about and it's cheap fun. Okay, so that's the Q&A. If you liked it and stuff like that, then please leave a comment below, and anything else you want to ask me, we can do another Q&A maybe before Christmas. And if you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. But as I know, the camera quality is not the best compared to the big YouTubers and that, but I've only got like 800 subscribers, so there's no point in me spending a heap of money on camera equipment and mics if the channel's not very big. But yeah, leave a comment below if you liked what you've seen, and hopefully we can do another one if we get plenty of thumbs up. So see ya, peace.